Hey everyone, Mr. Sujano here, your source for gaming, tech, emulation, and open source news. Let's get started. Alright, we'll kick things off talking about The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild for the Nintendo Switch, and I'm not joking with you here, but it appears there's a decompilation project in the works. Now unfortunately, I don't know when this is going to be completed, I don't know if it's going to be successful, and I don't know what projects are going to happen as a result of this decompilation. I could assume a potential PC port later on down the road or something, but at this point in time, this is all the information we have. If you are curious about it and wanted to learn more about it, I'll drop a link to this website in the description below. And on a side note, it does appear they are looking for contributors, and I'm wondering if this project is successful, will we see other decompilation projects from the Switch? I'm assuming so. Moving on, and we're quickly talking about MAME, which stands for Subscribe to Mr. Sujano, or Multiple Arcade Machine Emulator, depending on how you want to interpret that. Anyways, here MAME4droid just got an update, and that brings it in line with the mainline version of MAME version 0.268. And on a side note here, MAME4iOS appears to be in the works, but is getting flagged at the App Store for spam. Apparently there were some people who tried to submit multiple versions of it, and Apple is flagging them all. Now after reading this explanation, there's one paragraph here that I think is going to possibly pose a big problem for emulation on iOS, especially for those emulators that borrow code from other open source emulators, and it happens all the time. Based on our submissions, the binary similarity is most likely in the core MAME code. It's very likely that other apps that represent a single arcade game use the same MAME code, so we end up getting rejected because it doesn't pass their automated spam detection. So I think it goes without saying I don't really have high hopes for seeing MAME4iOS on the App Store anytime soon, especially if something like this is the actual problem. And then it makes me wonder if there's going to be problems for other emulators that try to enter the App Store that possibly may have MAME code as well. But moving on, and next up we're quickly talking about Sega Mega Drive and Genesis region locking cartridges. And if you've experienced this before, you may be interested in this project over on GitHub. It's called Getns Gens Region Lock Screen World X Delta patches. So the description of this one says, here are patches for use with X Delta command line tool and for ease of use X Delta UI, the Windows front end. The following patches are world universal region free and compatible with all region consoles. If you are curious about this project, I'll drop a link to it in the description below and feel free to check it out to learn more about it. And speaking about neat GitHub projects, next up we're talking about Apollo Save Tool. It's an application to manage save game files on the PlayStation Vita, and it just got a brand new update. So at the time of filming, Apollo Save Tool version 1.4.2 is the latest update. And as for what's new here, they've added the ability to delete PSP saves, delete PS1 saves from VNC images, improve sorting saves, and custom checksum support. I think Apollo is a pretty neat project, and I also think it makes things simple and straightforward for managing saves on the PS Vita. Let me know your thoughts about this one in the comments below. Moving on, and next up, this one's a quick heads up if you're a fan of Blaster Master on the NES. It appears that someone is in the process of porting this game over to the SNES. I've got no idea how long this is going to take, where the project currently sits, but at the same time here, this is a very interesting endeavor. Now, it's been a while since I've played Blaster Master, and I may check out the SNES ports. Recently, there's been a lot of NES to SNES ports, a lot of those coming from Infidelity. But moving on, and next up, we're quickly talking about PS1 emulation with Duckstation, and Duckstation just got a brand new update. Now, it's worth pointing out that Duckstation gets updated quite frequently as it's on a rolling release schedule, and Stenzek is very active. One of the new features here reduces memory usage. Duckstation's been getting a lot of performance improvements, optimizations, and fixes. It is worth pointing out that the latest Duckstation update does not include Android. Android hasn't been updated since January. But moving on, and you may find this one interesting and you may not, because all we have is one picture and some minor information about it. Anyways, here, this is a detailed picture of one of the first physical GameCubes ever made, and it was called the Nintendo Dolphin, and you can see Dolphin right there smack dab in the middle of it. Now, aside from this image alone being super interesting and me wanting to learn more about it and to see more images here, they say this GameCube is so rare that we were not allowed to upload it on the internet until now, and more pictures are coming soon. Console Variations also says, oh, and we're still not allowed to show where it's from, when, and how, just pictures. So it makes me wonder if there's still an NDA on this thing, even though it's been a number of years since the GameCube initially released. But either way, let me know your thoughts about the Nintendo Dolphin in the comments below. Do you wish it was called the Dolphin instead of the GameCube? Or are you glad it was called the GameCube so we have the Dolphin emulator? Very interesting. But moving on and switching from images to video, and next up we're talking about Monster Hunter Wilds. And they've just unveiled 3 brand new videos for this game here. One called Basic Mechanics Overview, the other one called Focus Mode Overview, and the third one called Great Sword Weapon Overview. Now, Monster Hunter Wilds isn't set to release until 2025, and it is coming out for Xbox, PlayStation, and also on PC via Steam. And from my understanding, it's also going to have crossplay. In my opinion, the games are looking pretty good so far. I mean, the gameplay footage looks great. On top of that, I think this person's comment sums it up very well. This game is going to feed families, and I would guess so too, considering these trailers are number 4, 5, and 6 right now in trending. And speaking about trending, next up we're talking about number 3 on trending, and that's The Legend of Zelda Echoes of Wisdom, and Nintendo has just dropped a brand new trailer for this game. Now, based on what I see here, this game appears to be a lot bigger than something like Link's Awakening. I could be wrong though, although the game is using a very similar engine, or possibly the same engine. They've incorporated elements here from stuff like Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom. And on top of that, they've also incorporated things from other Zelda games, like the Business Scrub here. I don't know about you, but to me this game is also looking real good, and I'm wondering if they should have named it The Legend of Link. I think this game is going to do well, but let me know your thoughts about this game in the comments below. The release date for The Legend of Zelda Echoes of Wisdom is just around the corner at the end of September. And speaking about release dates, next up we're talking about something that I've got no idea when the release date of this thing is going to be, or if it's going to see the light of day. But apparently here Sega has trademarked Yakuza Wars in Japan. Unfortunately, that's all I know about this one so far. I don't have any other information. There's been a ton of speculation, but if you know something, let me know in the comments below here. But moving on, and next up we're talking about a ROM hack here, one of Pokemon Emerald. It's called Pokemon Emerald 386, and this one allows you to complete the entire game with single player only. Now they say here this project does not try to increase or decrease the difficulty, add modern mechanics, change lore, or really do anything other than making this more accessible. They say here this hack has original special event tickets and map properly restored, Gen 1 and Gen 2 legendary Pokemon given appropriate events. All legendary Pokemon have respawn safety, including the Sudowoodo. Trade evolutions achieved through a special NPC trade helper. If you are curious about this one, I'll drop a link to it in the description below, and feel free to check it out to learn more about it. I'm assuming this patch is going to be very popular, and it's currently hosted and working on romhacking.net. Next up, we're quickly talking about Google, and I'm certain this is not going to be the last time we hear about this, but apparently Google lost a big antitrust case, and the judge called the company a monopolist. Now, this was the US Department of Justice, so it was not a small case at all, and Google was ruled monopolistic for paying to have its search engine as the default search engine on mobile phones and browsers and even more. Now, from my understanding, Google will be appealing this decision, and I've got no idea what this is going to mean for Google moving forward and for the search engine moving forward. If I had to guess, I would probably say nothing, but who knows? Let me know your thoughts about this one in the comments below, and I'll drop a link to the article in the description below in the event that you wanted to check it out. Next up, this is a quick heads up if you use uBlock Origin, and I'm assuming this bit of information is going to be very popular as soon as uBlock Origin does not work on Google Chrome. They are encouraging people to switch to uBlock Origin Lite. Now, the whole reason for this is not necessarily because Google is going after uBlock Origin, but because Google is going after coding that uBlock Origin uses, along with a whole bunch of other apps. Google is depreciating Manifest v2 in favor of Manifest v3, which seems like a natural upgrade. On the downside, that means that uBlock Origin will no longer work. However, on a side note here, Mozilla Firefox is not switching. They will still be using Manifest v2, and everything should work as normal. So if you do like uBlock Origin and wanted to keep using it, you can switch to Firefox. Next up, we're quickly talking about a ROM hack for the Sega Mega Drive or Genesis that I'm extremely interested in, mainly because it's one of my favorite games on the Switch. and that is Ultra Street Fighter 2 being re-imaged within a Genesis game. Now at this point in time, it's currently a work in progress, but at the same time, I can't wait until this one releases. I'm hoping the developer of this one takes their time and releases a very nice product. Let me know your thoughts about this one in the comments below, and I'll drop a link to their tweet in the comments below, or the description below rather. Moving on, and we're quickly talking about a PS1 emulator called PSXE, and PSXE just got a brand new update. So at the time of filming, PSXE version 0.10.3 alpha has just dropped. They say they're getting closer to the release of their new UI. And as for games that now work correctly, Final Fantasy IX FMV is still broken but can now be skipped. Tony Hawk's Pro Skater, Initial D, Hello Kitty Cube Frenzy, Disney's Hercules action game, and Disney's The Emperor's New Groove. PSXE is 100% free, it's open source, it's available for Windows, Mac, and Linux, and if you are curious about this one, I'll drop a link to it in the description below, and feel free to check it out. And speaking about checking stuff out, I'll drop a link to this video in the description below. I've got to stop saying that. I drop everything in the description below. My news is open source. Anyways, here, if you're interested, there's a brand new trailer, a 50-minute gameplay trailer for the Need for Speed Most Wanted remake in Unreal Engine 5. Now, this is a fan remake, but it's shaping up incredibly well. I don't have a release date for this one yet. The project has not dropped. But at the same time here, the project is very pretty to look at. And speaking about pretty to look at, how about pretty to listen to? Maybe not necessarily in a good situation, but at the same time here, someone has reprogrammed their smoke detector to play the Super Mario theme. For obvious reasons, I'm not going to play this in a YouTube video, but at the same time, if you wanted to check it out, again, I'll drop a link to it in the description below. In my opinion, this is awesome, but chaotic all at the same time. I mean, imagine if this was your smoke detector and you started hearing the Super Mario theme. Instead of panicking, you may be wanting to sit and listen to it play out, which would be the exact opposite of what you'd want to do. I'm curious about this one. Let me know your thoughts about a Super Mario theme on a smoke detector in the comments below. Would you be wanting to have something like this? Would you be worried about it? Or do you like the chirp that hurts your ears and makes you want to get the heck out? Next up here, the July 2024 fan translation recap has just dropped on YouTube. Feel free to check this video out. It's got a recap of the main fan translations that happened this month. Now, we've talked about some of these games in previous videos, but not all of them. For example, we've talked about Sega Rally 2006, Bomberman Jetters, and Shuffle Flight, which I was calling Shuttle Flight. Again, check out this video, it's very charming, and these are all fan translations. And last up here, this may be something, or more likely it's nothing, but cue up the Half-Life 3 rumors again, and I really mean again. This one has taken the internet by storm. The site is down right now because so many people are trying to check it out, and some information, interestingly, has been scraped. But apparently there is something in development with a codename of White Sands, and a voice actor may have spilled the beans on it. I'm certain we're going to hear more about this in the future, but at the same time here, there's like 20 and 30-minute videos on YouTube over almost nothing. I'm not holding my breath on this one. This may be yet another Half-Life 3 rumor. Let me know your thoughts about this thing actually being true in the comments below. But anyways, that is all I've got for you in this one. Straight to the point, all stuff and no fluff. We talked about a bunch today. Let me know your thoughts about absolutely any of it in the comments below. If you like this video, leave a like. If you didn't like this video, leave a like. Hit that subscribe button, check out my other videos. Don't tempt fate, save your state.